So the first task is to use the large Allen wrench and remove this and this screw. For the second step, you take the longer screws that have the Allen key ends and you place it through the two bottom holes in the plate. Some of them have a little paint that got stuck in. Just push them through and then hold it up with two fingers. Place the spacers and then line them up with the two holes. Make sure it's facing the right direction, which means that the side, which has the rounded edge, is on the side with the plate behind it. And then screw it down tightly with the large Allen key. You can make it tight. Don't make it too tight, just a little snug. The next step, you'll take your laser alignment tool and the two small screws and your smallest Allen wrench. You take all parts and you bring it over here. This is up to your discretion where you want to place it, but I will go in the middle. It's generally best to start in the middle and then decide where if you need to move it later. Put the screws through the back, lining up with holes, and just start the screws. Just a little bit. Then finish them off with the Allen key. Make sure the screws are facing the laser alignment tool. An important part of this step is not to over tighten and strip out the plastic. Just to where it's snug so it won't move. So you can adjust the laser alignment without it shifting. For this stage, you want to make sure you give yourself enough length so that your label indicator can swivel in any direction, even on this far edge. Then you take a zip tie, and you take the wire, you bring it up to this chrome rod, and you make it somewhat tight, but not too tight, so you can still slide the wire in and out. After you do that and decide how much wire you want, then you lead it underneath the machine. The next stage is to remove this black cable, which you simply take it out, shift it to the left, take it out. You remove these four silver screws. This one, this one, this one, and this one underneath. Only those four silver screws. It's very important that you don't move anything else, and they will be used with the number 2 Phillips screwdriver. After those 4 screws are removed, your wiring should look somewhat like this. You will have 4 plugs already attached. The 6-pin plug, the 2-pin plug, a 4-pin plug that looks different, and a 3-pin plug. Your new plug, as you can see, looks very similar to the other 3-pin plug plugged in here, and it will also go in the same type of port, but it will be the furthest down port. Next to the 4-pin plug, this is the bottle detect, and you need to be on the output, which is the very bottom. You take the wire for your label indicator, and you slide it through this large hole right here where the other 2 wires are coming through already. It'll just take a little bit of finagling, but you just need to slip it through. With your can already removed, it just takes a little finagling, and then slide it all the way. So you have about this much length. Then you just take it over the top of the motor and plug it directly into the bottommost port. It is a 3-pin port, and it should look just like this. Plug it into the bottom port. When the wire is loose, it's not a good idea because the fan is in there. And this is one of the parts where you have to be very precise. So you take your other zip tie that will be sent with your package, and you tie it all in together to make one large bundle. As long as the fan is not hitting the wire and you can still close the can, that is the best. You can take a pair of snips or a pair of scissors or a knife and just snip the end of that off so it doesn't sit in the way, and snip this one off. When placing the can back on, you might notice wires trying to get in front of the screw can right here. That needs to be clear so the screw can enter. So you want to shift the wires up slightly so that they're past that, and then slide the can on. You should feel it all seal against the bottom with these two wires on the bottom put in those two sections where they're meant to go through. Then after it is on, you start the first screw on top. And make sure it's placed correctly. And make sure you're seated on all four sides. There, and on the inside. Then you screw back in the can. Using all four screws you took out. There are 3 button head screws and 1 countersunk screw head. The countersunk goes on the inside, and the 3 button heads go here, here, and the very bottom underneath. Now that it is all hooked up and the can is fully screwed back in, turn on the machine and make sure the laser is pointing and is functioning correctly. You can adjust the laser by pushing it in any direction. It is an omnidirectional, but it has a limit. The back end will be bumped up against some part of plastic. Do not push it past that point because you could break it. And then point it at whatever you wish to point it at based off of your jar.